This season of the Good Up podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up vibe, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode.
Here at the Good Up Pod, we're all about shedding light on life experiences that have contributed to who we are and learning to navigate them to find a feeling that's, well, good up.
For some of us, that journey includes therapy. Empath Psychological Services operates with the belief that life's challenges are not all of who we are.
They aim to create a non-judgmental environment to help their clients harness their own power and to find their path to mental well-being. Good Up and Empath Psychological Services share a passion for helping others navigate their own healing their way.
If you're interested in teletherapy services in the U.S. Virgin Islands or the state of Texas, check out the link in the description box for more information on how you can book a session with Empath Psychological Services. Hey, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of your ex-man's favorite podcast. You know how your ex-man always managed to get his shit together for the next woman? It's our fault. We healed him. I'm your host, Ian Lavanza. Hi, Deidre.
So here's the thing. Y'all gonna be real mad about what I'm about to say, but I like to identify as the woman that he get together for.
We're the podcast that healed him, and Deidre is the woman he gave to
who's
get
going
off
to
of.
receive all the
here first.
Yeah.
Folks.
Well, that's not what that wasn't supposed to be my intro, so you could just edit that out because I know the pick-me's are going to be really mad at me for that one.
I keep it that fuck.
I am.
What are you gonna do? Beat my ass?
Imagine. I am the glitter on Beyonce's kitty. Yes.
I like this. I like this.
Yes,
I support it.
Right?
So,
yes.
Welcome back to the shenanigans, people. Welcome back, and thanks for letting us drag you every Tuesday directly from your car speaker. All right, make sure you're following us on all socials at Good Up Pod. If you want to be my personal favorite person in the whole wide world, just become a patron. I ask you guys every week, and every week I'll be like, haha, bitch, you're so funny. But we have a Patreon. We have a whole VIP community over at patreon.com/gooduppodcast. The lowest tier is $1. You get access to bonus content, and you get to see Deidre looking good up like fuck every week. Okay? Every week. First of all, Ollie and most people, we would have dropped the episodes for the Patreons Ollie. And I'll keep telling you that. But again, I like to play my face. So I can play yours.
I feel like
that's fine.
It's crazy that even patrons don't even be realizing that they got the content early. I'm like, girl, you paying for exclusive access.
Them man will run me money and then be like, oh, we don't get bonus content. I'll be like, I like you.
That's how you know somebody rich, because they spending money on
coming
something.
out your account every month. You don't know.
You investing in something and you ain't even utilizing all the benefits. That's how you know a motherfucker got money, honey.
That's fine with me.
I love that for them and us. So keep it coming.
Thank you to our patrons.
Thank you, guys.
With that being said, let's get into this episode. So first, I have a disclaimer, right? And I have a disclaimer because I love mess, and I know my best friends love mess too. So this is a disclaimer because Deidre and I have multiple best friends. Okay. Yes. So I know one of those multiple best friends saw the episode title and said, bitch,
why didn't you ask me to be on the podcast? I thought we were best friends. We are best friends, babe.
Yeah. And I still love you. I still love you. But you know us, we had to choose. And we chose the two fine ass people in the studio with us, and you ain't gonna beat my ass. So
you're really not. You're really not.
With that being said, we're going to allow our guests introduce themselves. Okay, I have my best friend here. Deidre has her best friend here. So best friends, hi. Whoever want to go first, introduce yourself.
So I am a Glenesse and Absolute Doll on all socials. Blogger, soldier, web designer, best friend. Like, I do a lot of stuff. So
should have stand up on her fuck too.
Listen, for like 3 years. We had to retire that because it will kind of gain out of hand.
And I feel like they don't make these cars the same. These cars are very
Listen,
delicate. And didn't people crack up their windshield?
Somebody had to buy a windshield. I think 2 people had to buy a windshield. Somebody had to fix a hood and somebody had to fix a roof.
Oh, because they want to be in thing. Come my friend,
I like being a big bitch because I know my
trendsetter.
limits and I would never stand up on my fuck. I know my limits.
Listen, at the time, I was driving what the girlies call a raga, so I wasn't standing on my fuck. Like, it was a luxury vehicle, but it was older, and I was like, why would I do that? Granted, my car was probably strong enough to withstand anybody standing on it, right? I was driving a Lincoln Navigator at the time, but I was like, baby girl, what I'm not gonna do is have to go talk to this St. Lucian mechanic and explain to him why I have to get something replaced.
What happened to your windshield? Well, I get this girl named Glenesse, right? And she don't tell people to stand up on their fuck. So
I had people in 3 regions standing up on their fuck, and now I need a windshield. Like, my bad.
Imagine.
Welcome. We are so glad to have you. This episode will be funny like fuck. I already know. With that being said, my best friend is also here. So aka what's she name favorite necklace, Ludence.
Oh man, I just want to say, if I was the best friend that wasn't chosen, I'd have been so hurt at that intro. I'd have been like, wow.
Ludence wanna talk to me ever again.
I just mad.
Yes.
Because last week we was on here having a very deep, meaningful conversation and talking about, we're not messy here. We don't talk shit. If we were one of those messy podcasts, here y'all are. The show ain't even start. What is going on?
I meant we as in the brand.
I was chose. Like,
sometimes I call myself the honored one, and it makes sense because now I on this episode, what she name favorite necklace, what she name favorite what he name, the woman them favorite light skin rock man, the woman them favorite Gemini.
Fuck your shit.
Yeah, Gemini. Air signs stand up. We got 3 motherfucking air signs in the building. What's up?
You see why this is my best friend? Okay. Please know that a shit Ludence about to talk on this episode is how he is in my inbox every fucking day. Okay.
But wait, actually, Ludence has also been on this show a few times, hasn't he?
Yes,
because I remember you being on season 1.
Yeah.
Did we do an episode together, the 3 of us?
Ludence was on season 1 and the colorism episode.
The colorism episode. So
okay.
This is actually my 3rd episode, 3rd topic.
Okay. Don't worry, Glenesse, you're gonna catch up. You're gonna catch up.
Big vet.
Okay, he does this, honey. He's a professional. Okay.
He needs podcaster in his bio.
Okay. Exactly.
Listen, you need
standing
podcast copy in your bio.
Yeah, standing guest on Good Up Pod. Like, just,
Hey, I don't know, 3 times a charm, I might need it for real.
Hey, you gotta do things 3 times to manifest it. Hey.
So yeah, well, welcome to our best friends. I'm very excited to have you here. And for the guests, today we are going to talk about these beautiful relationships we have with our best friends and everything we've learned from them, because you learn a lot from your best friends. People don't talk about it enough. Everybody always want to talk about a man, but what about your best friend? Because your best friend is listening to you even when your man getting your fucking, especially when your man getting your fucking knobs. So
yeah.
And to make sure we have some guidance for the conversation, I am going to be using questions from a card game called The And Friends Edition. It's by this brand called Skin Deep. I saw their content online and I was like, wow, these are questions that I have never thought to ask my friends. So, I like the potential for the conversations they could open up. So I am going to be asking those questions and we'll each take turns answering them, but we are going to be speaking, obviously, to our best friend. So whatever question I ask, just be prepared to answer that in the context of whoever is your best friend on this call. So Ludence, you better be answering it in terms of me, because I thought I was your best friend. So I hope,
Glenesse, I'm just gonna let you know, I understand that you have multiple best friends, and I know you understand that I have multiple best friends.
But them bitches
so I know
here.
I know that if one of us answers the question incorrectly, it doesn't take away from the level of best friendship that we have.
Well, it ain't gonna be like quizzing like that. It's gonna be more
because I'm like, just like me, I know Glennis got other best friends who are probably like, why are you on Deidre's podcast being referred to as her best friend?
And it's like, because them are gonna leave with 3-star reviews. Can I talk about that before we start? We have 151 reviews on Apple Podcasts. 150 of them are 5 stars. One
Come on.
is 3 stars. And look, I know perfection is the language of the
Look,
oppressor, but whoever is the bitch who leave 3 stars,
Your mom's a hoe.
your
Did they give-
mom's a-
Did they give context for the 3
No,
stars?
it was just a random rating with no review. So I'm like, oh, you a hater. Like 3 stars.
Maybe
but
they
you
couldn't
don't say
understand
nothing?
our dialect.
No, that's probably one of the man them from the IG comment section when they get upset at
You
Ali.
know what? Yes, because we be on
Yeah.
here. Okay, I'll take it. Give me my little 3 stars. Okay, I'll
So
take
I
it.
know that was a little off topic, but I fuck like if it was like 150 reviews and maybe like 75, like if it was more like that, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you 150 out of it is 5 stars, and you saying, you know what? Tree.
wanna be
You
the
was
one.
a hater.
Let me tell you
asshole.
something. People will fucking down anything because why somebody put a thumbs down on my son YouTube video? He's 7, bitch. Like, what did you want?
Bruh, what
Like,
the
what did you
fuck?
want?
You, dude, people are irritated.
Like, the fuck did you think this? You thought he
gotta
was
be
Logan Paul? Like,
one.
what the fuck?
I will
Oh my
never
God.
forget seeing a Beyonce video that had like 8 million likes and like 2 thumbs down. And I was like, y'all gotta be the most unhappy bitches on the planet.
You know, this
miserable.
creator that I follow literally just posted about this, and it was in reference to our queen Beyonce. Oh God, it's like a disorder, opposition defiance disorder.
Mhm.
She said, and it just might be people who have ODD. Like, and the reason why she posted about it was because at this point, everybody knows that when Beyonce is performing Energy, when she says everybody on mute, the expectation is that the whole crowd is going to shut their mouths. Everybody knows that. Like, it's been viral enough times for us to know to shut the fuck up. But there's still people who are, especially night 2, because I'm gonna just say this, you know, I went to night 1 in my city in New York.
I was the A student.
Night 1, we definitely got it together. Now, there were people who cheered too early, but they cheered because we all muted. They didn't cheer just to cheer. They cheered after a few seconds because the whole crowd went mute. But night 2 really is delusional and thinks that they shut up, when in actuality there was somebody who like scream out and then other people had to yell at them for night 2. And that's when I think her name is the Queen Po. I love her. She's also an Aquarius. But she posted about opposite, and she has like degrees in this shit, but she posted about ODD, and she's like, she thinks that at this point, people who are still making noise during that are just probably people with undiagnosed opposition defiance disorder.
So you're saying the person who leave 3 stars on Good Up
Probably have opposite, yeah.
is more than likely a bitch who is likely to scream during the mute part.
She's probably
Okay.
already screamed if she can afford to even see Beyonce. Or he, because it's most likely a Dusty. So he probably would have been one of the people in the crowd who screamed. He's probably like, you know, like, I mean, granted, you just said 100. So you show up to a podcast, right? You felt the need to go to Apple Podcasts to review this podcast. You see this
You
this
scroll to the
podcast has
bottom of the page.
a 100% 5-star rating, and you're like 3 stars. It's a good chance.
And then you lock
with
your
no
phone and
review.
walk away from it.
With no
Yeah.
review.
With
With
no
no
review, because for
review.
me, if
So now it just look like, okay, you just wanted to leave the 3.
yeah, you just
Mhm.
wanted to do something different. Same thing with you said you saw a video with like 8 million likes and there was 2 thumbs down. They just
Yeah.
want to be the person that does something different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, whoever it is, your mom's a hoe, like Glenesse said. And I just point that out there. I know
Real
it took
bad.
us a little bit off track, but I fuck was on my heart space today because I keep thinking about that. I'm just like, this bitch really sit there.
I love that Jeaiza brought that up. Ooh. So with
listen.
that being said, 150 5-star reviews. Thank you to every single one of y'all. Let's be
Yes.
clear.
Yeah, let me
but
not
we-
ignore the good part of it.
Yeah, thank every single one of y'all who have taken the time to leave a review. And if you do listen to this podcast and you have yet to leave a review, please leave us a review especially if you listen on Apple Podcasts, babe. Like, take a minute, even if you don't put content, just click the little 5 stars because you're listening for a reason. You must like it here. So go on and leave us some stars, babe. All right, let's go ahead.
Big we up. All right. So my first question for the group is, do you remember the day I became your best friend? Not the day we met, not the day we became friends, the day I became your best friend. Maybe, and even if you can't remember like exact day, maybe something that clicked in your head of like, this is my person.
I can't say that I remember the day I became Glennesse's best friend, but I remember the day I decided this my fucking best friend. Do you want to guess before I tell the story?
No.
Okay, you don't have to.
Because I'm gonna tell my story after.
Okay, so me and Glenesse became close because I don't even know how this group chat got created. Let's be clear. Me, Glenesse, Diamond, and Diamond best friend somehow was in a group chat. To this day, I can't tell you how. I think we all were just Facebook friends and we just decided we're gonna have a group chat. And
That
then
group chat had every fucking thing in it.
girl, all the tea. Okay, if that motherfucking group chat resurfaced, we're all toast. Okay,
We gotta fight all the way. We gotta fight all the way out that bitch.
Listen. So we all became like just really close. That group chat was really turned up. It was really good. The thing that Diamond's best friend and I have in common is me, Diamond, her best friend. I'm not gonna name no names. I'm comfortable naming Brittany because Brittany's been on the show before. But we were all very close in high school. The four of us hung out together in high school. And so when the bachelorette party for Brittany's wedding was approaching, me and the other best friend, we were like, oh, we could make it to this bachelorette party. So we collaborated with some other girls who were other friends of Brittany's to get like a room together. There was drama surrounding like a cancellation. Long story short, it caused a rift between me and the other person in the group chat. And Glenesse never like chose a side. Like I will say Glenesse has never like been like, I'm on Deidre's side. But the fact that, period. But the fact that
I was.
Yeah, because I was just, the way it was handled, it was like really poor communication. And I'm just going to be transparent because I'm transparent on the show. It was something that has even caused a rift between me and Diamond. Like me and Diamond have fought behind this shit because it was really like the way things broke down, it got really uncomfortable and weird. And at the end of the day, money is involved. You know what I mean? And so it pretty much ended with me and her at odds in a different group chat. But regardless, naturally, the group chat just kind of went belly up. And me and Glenesse got even closer. And Glenesse was like, fuck the dumb shit.
So the end of her story is actually the beginning of mine. And that's why I was going to say, that's why I didn't want to go first. But I didn't know that that's where your story was going. Because I was going to talk about, we had the group chat or whatever. And I remember in the group chat, so I big on loyalty, like very big on it. And I think that's like, everybody know that. So like I said, once we follow, like, bitch, we going hell. I don't care. And I'm a child. Like, we gonna be forever, bitch.
No, Glenesse is very vengeful.
So when the group chat ended, we literally started talking, like, you know, in our own, like, you know, direct chat or whatever. And it just went from like, okay, we was in a group chat to like, this is who I need to call if anything happening in my life, or if anything happening in her life. Like, we didn't skip days for like, I would say like 2.5 years.
Yeah, me and Glenesse, we
didn't even skip a day.
We would be on the phone, and it's funny because Dylan, remember Dylan at one point thought you were my only friend.
Dylan thought I was her only friend. So if she's like, oh, I on the phone with my friend, he'll be like, oh, tell Glenesse I said hi. She'll be like, there's somebody else.
And he would be like, what do you mean? Glenesse is mommy's only friend. I remember
he legitimately thought she only had one friend. And it was me.
It was Glenesse. Me and Glenesse used to be on the phone every single night. We would be on FaceTime and we won't even be talking about nothing sometimes. Yeah. We just doing our chores on FaceTime.
I washing dishes. Like she
I making Dylan dinner.
She had the cooking Instagram.
Yeah.
So she would be like cooking, or she would be like DIYing something. Yeah. And she'll be like, wait, I need to record this. And we'll be like, okay. And then come back. Like it was like a strong, solid, like I think 2.5 years.
Yeah, it just became
every day. Like we didn't miss a day.
I love that organic, like you look up one day and this person just like irreplaceable in your life. And you can't really identify how you get there or when you got there, but it's just like, oh, this is my person. It was like
the point where you know your name in my phone is still Priscilla.
Yours is still girl.
She can't say it.
Oh my God. So y'all, so me and Glenesse, let me tell you, there's some secrets of mine that only Glenesse know. I will never forget. There was somebody I was involved with. And I remember I was not ready for a commitment. And I was always very clear about that. but there was something that came up that he really like didn't like. It was like some drama. It was like my baby daddy trying to sabotage me being involved with this dude, all kind of bullshit. But I remember feeling so terrible and oh my God. And Glenesse literally said to me, Deidre, you're a bad bitch. Any man who wants to be with a bad bitch have to be prepared for bad bitch problems. And I was like,
I need to write that down. Hold on, I gotta write that blog about that.
I will never forget. But when she said that, my mind literally went, because it's true. It's like when you're a bad bitch, you probably gonna have a crazy ex.
You know probably TikTok account with a girl to be like,
yo, and Glenesse said that with such conviction, and I was like, holy shit, I never thought about it. Like,
side note, I hate men that get with bad bitches to humble them. Like, ooh, what the fuck is you doing?
What is
like? Let me tell you something. I gonna wear what I want and I gonna go where I want. So my man got know to fight. And you better be ready, because let me tell you something. I don't be talking my shit. I don't be all in people's place. Like my man would clear this fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and guess what? I gonna tell he the truth when I get home. But when I come, you know what I'm saying? He gonna clear something out. Something gonna happen. So I didn't.
But she was like,
I didn't. Yeah,
it was just such. Like, and granted, I'll give it to that one guy. He never would try to control what I wore or anything like that. And granted, in his defense, my baby daddy was on some fuck shit, right? He had like my baby daddy was just such a bitter bitch. Like,
which man was established.
Baby daddies be bitter too. He was
so bitter. So he would purposefully sabotage like me going out. So he would know that I have plans to go out, and he would just disappear. And he's supposed to be watching Dylan, but he just gone. And now I have to explain to my date.
He would like disappear like a day before. Like that
he would just be
calculated.
Gone. He would just be gone. And so now I have to cancel at the last minute and explain to this guy who I've been dating for a while that I can't go out because I don't have childcare. And I don't have childcare because Dylan's dad is supposed to be watching. And then it's like, dude, like, why is this like, it was just really a lot. So she was like, girl, you are a bad bitch. Any man who's involved with you have to understand that you're going to come with bad bitch problems. And that's a bad bitch problem.
I love it.
So for me, I think something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember, talking to Deidre, and she said something to me that kind of like made me look at myself. But she said, I know that you have other friends. She said, but I feel so comfortable telling you my business because I don't know your other friend's business. And I was like,
yep. I remember that. I remember that. And that's why, and I made sure to tell her that because it was why I got comfortable telling her my business. Because again, I have a lot of friends. And granted, the one thing all of my best friends have in common is they are my best friend because I don't know the other friend's business. That's very important to me because Glenesse can't tell you nothing about Shauna, can't tell you nothing about Daniela. None of them can tell you anything about any of my other friends. And so I treasure that in others is because for me, honey, again, I'm a Scorpio rising. I'm a chamber of secrets, honey. But I learned to get comfortable sharing my shit because I finally started to have friends who was the same. Glenesse have best friends from her childhood and I don't know these people's business at all. Listen, and Glenesse is such a
for
good
the listeners, and correct me if I'm wrong, knowing somebody's business is not the same as that person get you fucked up and you venting to your friend about it. It's knowing their personal, like, shit that wasn't meant to be shared.
That wasn't meant to be shared. I don't know.
Sorry, people that have me fucked up and Ludence still find out every single time. I'll be like,
and
you need to tell me if I'm being crazy.
I will say, right, that, everybody that'll be like, oh, when you and somebody fall out and this, that, and the third, like, I will say, I don't have loyalty for people I don't fuck with. If I don't fuck with you, like, it is what it is at that point, especially if you're fucking with me. Because if you're fucking with me and I know some shit you don't want people to know, I might tell them.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. We have our flaws. I've been in a beef or two. But in the same
or 3
or 1,000, but I will say that for the most part, I don't go out my way, and that's what I would like people to take from this, right? Like if you do me something, I gonna do you back a fuck. Like, let's be clear. But I really don't think that I'll be starting stuff. So I honestly don't think that even if that was the case, let me say something. I think my memory bad too. I probably don't even remember people's business to tell it. Like, I'll be honest with you.
Yo,
I'll
let me
fuck
tell
up
you.
the story and everything because
So I go pause out here just because Ludence got answer this question.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Sorry.
But no, I do love to hear that like this came about organically, and I love when a group chat starts, and even if the group chat don't last, the friendships that are come from the group chat they'll
Yes.
be lit.
So good.
Shout out to the group chats at the wall, because if they leak them, a lot of
listen, we got to fight a
we
lot
gonna be
of people
fighting
if them
for
We
group
gotta
chat
fight,
leak.
and that's the thing, because I'm like, no matter how things went, the one thing I could say is we were solid in that regard. Like, and I didn't even wonder if anything from that group chat would be leaked. Like, I was like, oh well, like group chat went belly up until this day. And that's the thing, because even if you upset me, I don't have the energy to go to the lengths of exposing anything or anything. Like, girl, bye. Like, fuck you.
Unless
I don't have time. I
unless
don't
he's
have time
Miss
to be
Universe US
malicious.
Virgin Islands franchise, then I exposing every fuck. But everybody else cool.
Ludence, let's hear what you have to say.
When did I become your best friend?
I mean, I don't know if there was a when, because it was just like the storms happened in 2017. I don't remember when I start like DMing you, like on friendship, because I think you probably see me venting about the storm or whatever, and then like we just enter each other DMs, and I think you were going through something at the time too. So we just
so we were cool like from Twitter, and you had an ex that I knew, so we met.
Correct. So we
through
met
that mutual friend.
Yeah, so we knew each other. We knew of each other's existence for sure, like from like 2014 or something like that, 2013, 2014. And TL, everybody kind of know each other on VI Twitter. But then the storms happen, and I don't know, God sent her my way. She just decided, okay, Ludence needed a friend, because I really did at that time, because it wasn't just the storms, there was a lot of other stuff I was going through personally, and it was rough being home and with all of that going on, and then the other personal stuff where it felt like I kind of lost a person at that time, and then all of a sudden God was like, you know what, I go send Jay his way, and yeah, we just start DMing every day and just start talking, and probably in like 2018 is like at some point there it was a click. It was like, yeah, like we could be cool for a long time, because it's like I could have been we were just going through whatever we were going through at that point in our lives, and now that we ain't going through that anymore, we could
people be trauma bonding and shit.
Yeah, no, but it grew from there.
Yeah.
Like
I will say, like, the storms was kind of like a landmark in our friendship, because we were friends before the storm.
Yeah,
I remember when you moved to the States because of the storm. So like I just thought about that. Like, this thing been going on for a while.
Yeah, because I remember that group chat was lit. Yeah.
And me and Deidre actually just some episode a couple of weeks ago that we recorded where we realized that we also had a group chat with me, you, and a couple other people, and our
and it was the storms,
and it was around the storms too.
You know what? I'm gonna go pull an astrology chart for the time that the storms hit. Because I really about that. Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm sure Pluto and Saturn had probably made some kind of transit or some kind of aspect to one another. Possibly Uranus, but regardless, it's interesting how many like friendships were formed around that, and how many just lives were changed in general, and that's the whole point of natural disasters in the first place. But it's just so fascinating,
and I think a part of it too, at least from my perspective, was this was the first, and I think even Deidre said it that a day, the storms were the first hurricanes that we all experienced as adults, right?
That we were responsible
when
we
were kids.
It was our parents to handle, right? So I don't know that we really realized like how these people that we know and interact with could have lost their lives because of the storm. Or now these are people we know who are losing their homes and all that stuff. So we just naturally gravitated to each other, and there was like this sense of community. And I think for a lot of people, that sense of community turned into friendship,
long-lasting friendship.
Yeah.
So another thing too is I was dealing with anxiety at the time too, and I think that's also another reason why we bonded, because you knew something about anxiety, and you were like being there for me and trying to navigate what it means to be anxious and live with it. In a time where I would like, I don't know why I just like shut down like like a year before, like in 2016. I actually barely remember that year in general, like because of how like a shell of myself I was, just because of anxiety. And the storms were kind of like a wake up call. Well, a little stuff before that, but then the storms happened, and then it was just like.
And the storms are also triggering too, because I remember like the struggle of your house needing to be repaired and like the island not being the same and all of that stuff happening. And
if I were to go back to my journal, like I had to use a wet vac so many times in my house because it was just constantly flooding.
Were you in St. Thomas or St. Croix?
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
So I remember that was a big thing too, because the storm hit St. Thomas first, and St. Croix sent all their supplies to St. Thomas,
and then 2 weeks later,
and then St. Croix got
11 days later, St. Croix got the other one.
And something people didn't talk about a lot, which Ludence and I were openly talking about at the time, was that like people had PTSD from the storms.
Oh
like,
my God.
People would start freaking out when it would rain, and their houses, like you didn't have a roof on your house yet, or like Ludence is saying, like y'all were having like water damage, and
rain legitimately used to dampen my mood, because every time I think of rain is like I at work and I like, hey, I gotta go home. Like if I don't go home, like my house go flood. Like
yeah.
And I just like I can't be comfortable with rain.
Yeah. And I remember we would talk about like anxiety in depth of like, hey, here's this thing, because I had just went through this year-long experience of having extreme anxiety to the point where like I had to go to the doctor, and I thought I was fucking dying, right? Because I was like, I can't breathe. I always feel like I'm about to pass out, all this stuff. So because I had just went through that experience, I had this like, obviously I wasn't trying to like be Ludence's therapist, but I was like, okay, this is what I
fresh in your mind.
It was like we could kind of learn from each other, because it's like a lot of times when you talking to your friend, you saying stuff to them that they need to hear, but a lot of times you needed to hear it too. We don't talk to ourselves aloud like that, you know what I mean? Most of the time we like write it out, but like to hear it vocally said, and it's like, oh shit, that come from me, like I thought that and I said it, you know what I mean? So that was our next thing too. Like, you know, I had another friend, you know, step up at that time, and it was just like both of them in a time of need, and I didn't even, you know, it's not like I had to become more of something that I wasn't. I didn't have to, you know, do something for them. It was just like I was me, and they felt like I was enough to be there for me in that time, you know, and I was grateful for that. Always.
Can we just like acknowledge the fact that I love this for our generation, that we could sit and say, I have anxiety, like I feel depressed, like something going on, because I feel like them generations before, we the ones that fuck we up.
Oh my God, they did a number on us.
I feel like they wasn't honest with themselves.
Yeah, which is why when it came to Ludence, like I really didn't know him like that. And I gonna be fully transparent, Ludence. If I tell him too much of your business, we could edit it out. But Ludence was dating this girl back a long time ago who I was friends with, but I also had a crush on this girl because obviously, you know, I play for both teams. So I had a crush on this girl. Me and our friend. I went to St. John. Ludence knows this. I went to St. John to like visit her, to meet her in person for the first time, and went to the village, I think in St. John, and met Ludence. And like Ludence on first meeting is such a likable fucking person that like me and this girl don't even talk anymore. Not to say we beefing or anything, but like we obviously everybody grew apart, all of that stuff. Me and Ludence, I was like, this dude funny. I like him. And like we
did meet back then?
We met back then. We meet in a village. And from since then I follow you on social media. And then from social media, that's where we actually start to become friends, was after the storm. So we knew each other from like a distance. Really? But yeah. So
I don't remember meeting you.
Yeah, we met, and I remember like, oh, he cool, he funny, all of that stuff. And that's why like we connected on, I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever, something.
It was probably Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. So on Twitter, you know, after the storms, we were having all these conversations, and I known for talking about this person on the podcast a lot. We dubbed him Mr. Big, right? This was around the time when Mr. Big was actively busting my chest, right? And I had not told anybody the full blown details of what I was going through with this person. Nobody knew anything about me, and the back and forth I was going through with this man. And because me and Ludence were just talking there, I was like, I don't know what stirred the conversation, but I was like, Ludence, let me give you the full chronicle of my history with this man, right? When I tell Ludence a story, it had a plot, it had characters, it had fucking, I was
It had character development.
Listen, Ludence got...
the craziest part is, I ain't gonna say specifically, but the craziest part is because she was so specific, like the connection of who that person was to somebody else was just like,
it ended up being
I actually know of him. Like,
it ended up being that Ludence had previously dated a girl that the guy was now...
I didn't previously date her, but we were talking,
like,
you
so
know what I mean?
There was connections all up and through there. It was hilarious. But Ludence get a full rundown, and it was kind of like how Glenesse, you know, tell Deidre, like, oh, you's a bad bitch, and if he gonna date a bad bitch, like, Ludence's response to me telling him that story was different than most male friend responses would have been, because men love to say, oh yeah, I gonna tell my female friends the truth. Yeah, but they're very unempathetic. They're very unwilling to acknowledge when a man wrong. And Ludence were like, no man, this man's a fuck boy. Like, we were just talking cash shit. And it grew from there. But full transparency, like, obviously we click and we were close, but I think the day it clicked for me that, okay, this is my person, is when, oh my God. So Ludence was going through, you know, something in his personal life. He went through like a breakup, and I liked this person a lot. I still do, right? I think she's a wonderful person. And I remember one day thinking like, wow, that's crazy, because if she ever break Ludence's heart, I'm gonna have to beat her ass. Like, the thought just crossed my mind, and I was like, oh, this my person. Like, because I don't just be I ride or die, but I only ride or die for people that, like, I know ain't gonna make me look crazy in the end. Yeah. And this was saying this about her person, and Ludence knows I loved, like, she's a great person, but I was like, wow, I was like, it's crazy how if she really, like, if she hot this man, I gonna have to beat her ass. And I was like, damn, I don't ever want to think that about this person, and I still don't. But I was like, okay, yeah, like, this is my best friend.
It's like, oh no, like, this might dog, like, nah.
Yeah, we definitely had that moment in our friendship.
I'm like, so I got chosen.
Y'all know, you know, obviously, you know, most people are saying, oh, I come in this all alone, I born alone. Okay, clearly Deidre was not. There was two of them. And this was also in the days of the group chat. But somebody fucked with Diamond. And bro, we full set, like, it was...
Facebook was a fucking what?
Facebook was on fire.
Oh my God! No, me and Glenesse.
Listen, you know that GIF where Childish Gambino to walk in a room with a pizza, he'd be like, and then everything on fire. That was Facebook. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Me and Glenesse was like,
at that point, we was a triplet, bitch. It was three of us. Like, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like, it was
and you know.
Like, it's what? So bad.
These men writing deep for Diamond.
No, like, dude, I drove 5 hours. Like, it was serious.
Glenesse was out here. Glenesse was out here. Okay.
I was ready to, like,
and you know why?
Say, oh, I want to throw hands, and I drove 5 hours.
And she probably had her gun in the car too.
I drove 5 hours. I was putting miles on the Benz, okay?
And you know what's so funny? You know how people are saying, like, that tweet, like, how you to drive 5 hours and you stay mad.
And you still mad at the end? The whole year.
Glenesse was ready.
But you know that law had just come out. Like,
yes, yo, that song. What? But you know what? And that's another reason why, like, I just knew Glenesse was my person, right? Because for one,
I'm so ashamed.
Girl, listen. So a lot of, you know, Diamond has a big personality. Diamond is a household name in the Virgin Islands or whatever, right?
She's that.
But Diamond,
the face of the VI. We established that.
All that stuff. But Diamond is also very soft. And one thing, me and Diamond have conversations where I'd be like, Diamond, you don't let people play in your face too much. You don't, Diamond will give people too much grace sometimes, right? And I went through this period, especially when Diamond was really like constantly going viral and people just always wanted to kind of like be seen with her and stuff. I used to sit on there. Anytime Diamond posts something, I used to sit on and scroll through them comments, just looking for somebody to defend my sister against. If I saw one cross comment, I was on, and Diamond used to hit me up like, "Sissy, you could please just like back it up a little bit." And I'm like, no, because if I don't do it, who gonna do it? You know who used to do it with me? Glenesse. Me and Glenesse used to stay on ready, okay? Yeah. Because people used to play in Diamond face, and Diamond is just like, oh, I don't want no problems. It's not about wanting problems. And I had to tell Diamond, I remember
Diamond wasn't trying. She wasn't trying to fuck up the brand, but I didn't care about the brand.
And that was, I said, I don't have nothing to lose in this online space, okay? Am I going to do anything to risk being like free and out of prison? No. But am I going to utilize the resources where other people don't have as much to lose? Yes. Like, we have cousins that are goons for real.
I mean, when it's your person, it's like you don't care, right? And I just want to be clear, right? What went through my mind will obviously never happen, right? Like I don't want it to make it seem like, oh, I was ready to defend this man. It's just I felt so protective over him that it came to that point where like sometimes I don't see the difference between like a person who I'm cool with and like when it comes to Ludence. It's like, you talk to this man sideways on Twitter, I gonna DM you and call your mother a bitch. Like I
and your dirty poor granny, and I don't care.
Yeah, everybody involved. Like
I see myself as this, but like me, mind you, it's similar to me and Deidre. Ludence and I have not seen each other in person since we became friends, you know. Have not, because we haven't had the opportunity. Life happened in between all of that time. But if we see each other, let's say we go village and somebody press this man too close, I fight in the same time as I don't care. But that logic, like in any other situation where like you're an acquaintance or something, I'd be like, maybe she could fight for herself, I guess. I ain't risking it. But like that's how I don't tell the difference. When I get to that like ragey Aries, arrest me if you want, officer, like when I get that illogical, I'll be like, oh, I really like love this person down. And our friendship just got to that point. But that's how it'll be. You'll be like, nah, I don't know if you know, but this is my person. Like, we ain't doing this. But yeah, it went from Twitter DMs to texting to we talking every day. It gets to the point now where if I don't hear from Ludence for like a day, I'll be like, all right, maybe you had a rough day today. I gonna give you some space. As soon as we hit 48 hours, I don't get real dramatic and it's my inbox. And I'd be like, I know you get other bitches, but I talk to
if you don't want me, then
you don't talk to me.
For obviously the best friends, when do you feel closest to me?
Glenesse is a fashion girl, okay? I feel closest to Glenesse when I need guidance in that area, but I feel closest to her when she don't call me for that Johnny cake recipe.
Glenesse, something. That recipe done had people calling me Myrtle and all kind of thing. Listen, they had to give me a old cushion, a Gertrude or something. Okay, after that Johnny cake recipe.
Yo, Glenesse will, don't let Glenesse lose that Johnny cake recipe, and she ain't lose it for a while. Glenesse will FaceTime me at any time of the day, any time of the night.
You said the milk gotta be room temperature?
How much? Which one gotta be cold? Which one gotta be cold? And then I just tell her, make sure you're using bread flour. Make sure you use it. And she's like, okay, that's Glenesse. No, and that's shallow, right? But the reality is
at all.
Me and Glenesse have like, it's just like this understanding. There's no limit to when you could call. There's no limit to when I know that. I know that if some crazy shit go down at 2:00 in the morning and the only person I feel I could call is Glenesse, I call in Glenesse. I'm not wondering, oh, she might be busy. She might be doing it. She probably there up on the phone. Is she going to be upset that I called? Glenesse is not going to be, like, I'm confident in that. And there's not many people that I have that level of confidence and friendship with, but I have that with Glenesse, and Glenesse have it with me. Like, remember when I have first started really like taking astrology seriously?
Yeah.
I was up reading Glenesse chart till
I think I was one of the first people. She was like, I need to know what time you born. This is what made me also feel even more closer. And I think this is when we feel the closest, right? She did one for me and she did one for Jeremy. And she was like, you know, not only is this going to help you, but this will help you in understanding Jeremy so that you could parent Jeremy better. And I won't say that as a gentle parent because these fucking children ain't gentle, but you can't, dog, if you talk hard to them, they don't listen. But in that conversation, it was always, we would always call each other to be like, yo, am I tripping? You know, we's boy moms. We had started a club named Body Boy Mom. Yeah.
Body Boy Mom Club, yeah.
So but I would call her a lot and just be like, yo, am I tripping? Like, you think I handle this like okay? And she would be like, you know, she would call me and do the same thing. Like, you know, people said, okay, I do this with Dylan or I do that with Dylan. She's like, you think I was tripping when I did that? So for me, I think like we bonded a lot over not, you know, just the boy mom thing, but just not wanting to damage our children, not wanting to, you know what I'm saying, give our children a life that they have to heal from.
It's true.
Oh, that was deep. I need to.
That was so deep.
Yeah. I almost pulled out the
better.
fucking paper again because I was like, you say you give your children life, but did you give them a life that they don't
have to
Yeah,
heal
and that's
from?
something me and Glenesse take so seriously. We give our boys the freedom to have an opinion. We give our boys the freedom to tell us when we've done something to offend or hurt or upset them. And even if we have like a weak moment or some sort of like an emotional outburst, we have that like level of maturity and emotional intelligence to come back and course correct. Because one thing we're gonna do is apologize to them boys.
But yeah, Ludence, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I could go first. If I have to say what would be when I feel the closest to you, I feel like anytime we have like a sense of humor moment, like anytime I see something on Twitter, we reach to a point we don't even have to give a caption. We just gotta send a screenshot and we just know.
You understand? You in sync.
Love that.
Like,
I have one person on Twitter and me and Ludence been roasting for has it been years now? And
it's probably been about a year and a half now, maybe.
It goes sound like bullying, right? But it's person. I try not to out myself. This person is it's not the fact that they're confident in themselves. It's the fact that they think the world don't revolve without them. Not that the world revolves around them. They woke up this morning and spin this bitch themselves, okay?
Period.
And that's how they tweet, right?
But it'll be so funny because it's for it's like so mundane. Like it'd be like, oh, these people just told me that they love how I got out of my vehicle today. I felt so amazed by that. And it's like, huh?
And then like it'll be like, oh, the way I toast my bread has changed the game for everybody in my life. Like it'll be stuff like that, right? Which,
like little stuff like that. But it'll sound funny because it'll be like,
no. It's somebody on Twitter. But and that's the thing, like I really don't want to sound like a hater. If that's who this person is, cool. But that shit will be so funny, right? Me and Ludence don't even send it with like commentary. We don't just see the tweet and we don't send it to each other. And sometimes we don't send each other the same tweet at the same time.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, you know what? I F with the brand because it's consistent. Like it has been going on for as long as
on brand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what?
They really believe that.
Just be funny.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I need to take a picture to the
honestly,
book.
we all need to live life like that. Maybe. You know what I mean? Because it's a little delusional, but healthily, because they don't look down on anybody. It's not in a way that it's just like
it's high self-esteem.
Yeah.
It's genuinely
but it'll just be funny because it's for the things that you wouldn't expect it for. And it's just like, I guess, my son.
You know, life gotta be real good for you to appreciate the small things, like how you toast bread. You know,
one thing about it, I'm gonna romanticize my life.
Well.
Yeah, listen, we gonna romanticize our lives. Okay.
From what I can see, life is going very well for this person. But yeah, me and Ludence will be cackling. Like sometimes we'll be, I don't want to say cussing each other out, but like we'll be on like texting each other and like going ham, right? And then you see the bubbles pop up and the other person will be like, no, don't type, don't send nothing. Like it'll be so funny. So I think I would have had that same answer, but we started doing something recently that made me feel even closer to Ludence that I could have never imagined us doing before. So everybody knows I got back into my reading bag. Shout out to the book club baddies. Got back into my reading bag and I got so obsessed with reading again, obviously. And a lot of my friends do read, but not to the extent or the way that I read, right? So I was talking to Ludence about books I read and whatever, and randomly a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to Ludence. I was like, would you ever do a buddy read with me? And he's like, what the fuck is a buddy read? So I told him, I was like, we read the same book, and while we're reading the book, we like text each other like our reactions to the book. I said, but I read in a book that I don't know if you ain't gonna like, because I don't read a lot of romance. He was like, fuck it, what's the book? Ludence buy the book the same day. How about Ludence? I think I love this book more than I like the book, right?
Oh my
But when I mean
God.
we were going back and forth, commentary, sharing highlight, but it was funny. Like our character would do something and we would text each other and be like, what the fuck this bitch doing, right? Like it was so
That's
funny.
so cute.
But the book was so wild too, because they end up doing stuff. I'd be like, them man, Jay, this is you.
This is
like,
you, like,
this
yeah.
is you.
The book, by the way, is yours truly by Abby Jimenez. We've read other books together since then, but that was the book that started out, and it's a very good book.
Yeah,
so
it's an amazing book.
Yeah, we read this book together, and that's something I've never done with anybody else. Yeah, like obviously my husband is not like a reader, he's a gamer. That's something else we do. But for me to have this thing that I'm like, oh, I could do this with Luda, I was like, oh, I feel so close to you when like we read it, because this is my thing, and you've participated.
And you're willing to do my thing.
Like
exactly.
I felt honored that she asked me, because I was like, oh yeah, of course, because I was just like, yeah,
I thought he would have been
that's
like,
a thing that we
really
do.
my thing. Because you know, you don't tell people you don't read romance, and they'll be like, oh, I don't read 48 Laws of Power, and you'd just be like,
nah, I'm a look.
And yet you still over here flipping burgers.
I go look at the camera right now. I am a simp. I am a sap. Okay, I watch romance stuff. I cry at all of them stuff.
Yeah,
I'd be balling. Did it catch me every time? Those motherfuckers.
And what's your favorite flavor cake, Ludence? I'm gonna bake you a cake. What kind of cake you like?
Carrot cake with no nuts and no
You like
raisins.
carrot cake? I make a very mean.
And he like Pretty Foot Woman too. I just
watch me looking at my Barbie pink pedicure right now.
Deidre, is your toes pink? Deidre, my toes are pink.
Oh my god.
Listen,
I love that for us.
One thing about me, I don't be pondering for Ludence. I would be on here like, Ludence likes long walks on the beach. He likes books. He reads.
So now that I know that Ludence loves carrot cake, so first of all, that was my grandmother's favorite cake flavor, and I love to make carrot cake, but not enough people like it, so I never really have enough of an opportunity to make it.
It's so unfortunate, because
it's really good. So you know, Ludence, whenever you want some carrot cake, just let me.
Okay, keep in mind this question will probably shift the mood a little bit. I'm sorry, but I think it's a good question for conversation.
She's so messy.
It's not messy. It's
okay.
Right. The question is, what is a pain in me you would like to heal? You see why I asked it, right? Because it's a mind-blowing question, but I'm so sorry.
So I pretty much want to know what's a pain in me that Glenesse would like to heal, and vice versa.
And that's not to say you have to be able to heal it. Just you wish you could heal it, maybe.
Something that you wish you could heal, just because like you're their friend, you know what they've gone through. Just one particular one.
I feel like I don't have one, because I just feel like where our friendship started and where it's at now is two different places. So like I feel like we watch each other grow so much. Like shit that I would have been like back then, like the whole like, you's a bad bitch, like why you accepting this? Like she knows she's a bad bitch now. It's like I don't feel like I have something.
I feel like
that
the
I
only
to heal,
right, because we've already been. So I think the only thing I can think of, and we probably both agree on it, I feel like the only thing that we could mutually agree on is who we chose to have children with.
God
but the reality is, and I always say this, and this is what has helped me to heal just everything that I feel surrounding who I ended up having Dylan with, is there is nobody else in this world who could have given me Dylan. That's the only thing I could think of that I would want to kind of help Glenesse heal with or whatever, but she's already worked through that. Is just navigating the child father.
Like you wish you didn't have to
100%.
go through what she went through with that.
Yes, it irks my soul, you know. But I also know,
you know.
But I also know that nobody else would have given her Jeremy. Like there's nobody else who could have given her Jeremy, you know. So that's the only thing I can really think, because that's something that we both.
That's a healthy way to look at it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I telling you, dude, that is that man's one redeeming quality.
It
So
is.
you
It is.
know
And
that is the one.
yeah, and as much as I recognize, and I've moved on. I know that I was in a situation where I was groomed. It was an abusive situation. It was a really bizarre dynamic, the whole relationship. But I've overcome it, and the reality is there were things about him that I loved, and that's why a whole child come from it. Like, no matter how irritating the situation ended up being, even when I find myself like feeling like I need more support from the other parent, the reality is before all of this, we were once in love, and that love made Dylan. And Dylan is the fucking shit.
He really is.
It is the fucking shit.
It was
and
it was so funny, right? Me and Deidre were talking, having the same conversation pretty much around somebody else, and I said, "Oh, I guess smoke for a man till the day he die," and the person was like, "Well, I guess you see it this way because like I know this person longer," and I was like, "Okay, that's nice. I guess smoke for that man till the day he die."
Please understand.
On site.
Listen, but that's the only thing that comes to mind.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing because when I post the link to this, he probably gonna watch it.
You know he gonna watch it. You know he gonna watch it, honey.
It's still kind of up for he saw.
Listen,
you want me to have smoke for you too? I can.
Because I'm gonna always have smoke for that motherfucker. Let's be clear.
Yep.
Okay, now.
This is growth here. This is me growing because
no, Glenesse, let me tell you, a couple years ago, it would have been Glenesse would have been dragging.
I might have go blast his mask on her Facebook just because, like, just
I record a podcast tonight. You know who I think about?
Oh no, she would have name dropped.
I would have turned he into a hashtag like tonight. Like,
yeah. Make sure you listen out for the episode. I made an appearance on Good Up, and I make sure
it would have been a 3-day ordeal. Like it would have been shenanigans for at least 2 days, at least.
Yeah. Facts.
But we good now.
Yeah.
What about you, Ludence?
It's tough because it's either between, Mr. Big, that whole situation, or just stuff with with your mother that you've spoken about, because I could relate to that, like you love your mother bad, but then there's still pain behind that relationship. So it'd be one of those two, but probably Mr. Big though, because it's like
fuck.
Like I don't know, like you said, like when you told me about him, I like that's like horrible, like that for me. I was like, I don't really see it for him, but like it was you who saw something. So like I would never like diss him because you telling me about it, but I'd just be like, yeah, he was horrible. You know what I mean? So just like, yeah, I wish you didn't have to go through, what he was in your life.
That's where we different. I'd diss him.
You see how the problem is always man.
Man, listen, let me tell you something, right?
You see how it go all roads lead to man.
Oh, waiting for it. Eventually it will come here.
Yeah. Well, it is, but my answer is similar, but of the opposite gender. I've witnessed Ludence go through heartbreak, and watching him experience it was painful for me to witness, and it was hard to watch him go through, because when you love somebody so much, even if it's platonic love, you want them to see themselves the way that you see them. And I think sometimes Ludence don't see himself as deserving of like the amount of love that he is deserving of. And I'd just be like, if you could only see like I don't want to fight this man.
Like, please don't make me beat your head in this fucking wall so you can see what's going on.
They have had nights where Ludence texted me and he'd be like, I feel like I don't deserve this. Or, he just, sometimes you in a mood, right?
God.
And he'll set off and I'll be like, Ludence? Ludence? And then sometimes I'll be like, me gonna send nothing. I'll wait till you good. You text me later. Because right now,
she's so damn aggressive. Like, you just to be so...
And Ludence could defend me here. A lot of times I'm very affectionate.
She'd be like, no, but I have sometimes be like, I gotta just let you get what you need to say because you know what I gotta say, and because you say you know what I gotta say is like now my mind like digging back to like what you said before, and then like, you know what, you're right. Let me
And we've had moments where like Ludence will get to a point where he'll be like, no, I'm him. Like I do deserve this shit. Like he don't have his, you know, and he don't get to that point. And then sometimes he'll have like a rough set of days or whatever.
It's just waves, man.
The cynicism will come back and he'll be like, man, maybe I don't deserve this. I'd be like, here you go for getting you a bad bitch.
That I had was like from my therapist, like, you know, what she defined it to me as was like grief. Like you're grieving something that ain't there anymore. And I didn't know what to call what I was feeling, because it was just like I don't know, like, you know, because I was the first person that I had like love. Like I've been in other relationships before, but it's like when I got with her, it's like, oh no, like this is love. Like this is what it actually is. So, you know, things just didn't work out. You know, it's no like nobody do anybody anything kind of thing, nobody step out or anything like that. It just didn't work out, you know what I mean? And it was just like this hurts kind of thing. So it's like, you know, when I talked to the therapist, it's like the reason it hurts so much is because it's directly proportionate to how much you had loved them. And like I like break down in the fucking session, because I was just like, oh, that makes sense. That's why it hurts so much, because it's like I love her so much. You know what I mean? So it's just like, so it's grief that I'm dealing with. That makes sense now. At least it has a name now. So like, now that I could classify it as like, you could use the tools necessary to fight it, because knowing what it is, I don't know how to fight it, because it's like, oh, maybe I telling myself I'm moving too weak. Like everybody else gets over breakups faster than this. Why am I still hung up over this? And it's like, well, if it's grief, then I don't really have a timeline that looks different for everybody. You know?
And we think other people will get over it. Them niggas will still be in the inbox. They'll be putting up a front.
The reason why we're gonna say like, oh, you know, this is a pain in you, I wish I could heal, is because like I did see the grief of it, right? Like you going through these waves of some days you good, some days you ain't, and you feel like you should be over it, but you're not. Like all of us have been through that breakup in our lives where we're like, yo, it's been a couple years, or I there with somebody else and I still hot about this. But like, you know, you process pain the way you know how to process pain, or like every situation is different, right? But for me, it was just like, fuck, like this is such a good person who I know is deserving of all these things, but right now he don't see it for himself. So like, I wish I could fix it. But the only thing you could do in those situations is support them. And going back to what you and Glenesse was saying, like everything does still happen, you know, for a reason, and it teaches you what it teaches you, and you are who you are as a result of like what you learn through that, you know? So all right, I got one more question for the group. Okay, the last question for your best friend is, why do you love me?
Oh God, I go cry.
I know.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Ooh. Hold on, because I'm not doing it.
I's a bad man. I get it. Okay, let's go.
Okay. I love Deidre because she is Deidre. Like like Deidre said in the beginning, right? We have multiple friends or best friends or whatever the case may be, right? And people always say like, you know, they have best friends for different things or whatever. But Deidre is probably one of my friends that is like my everything friend. Like, you know how you have that friend that is like your dinner friend, and then you got a friend that is the birthday trip friend, and then you have that, like, Deidre is my everything. Deidre is my recipe friend. Deidre is my, this dress look good. Deidre is like, you think they're gonna make me a hashtag? Like, you think I doing this mothering shit, right? Like, you think I was wrong for how I handle it? You think I should go up to that school and burn it down? Like, she is that friend for me, right? So I honestly, I don't know how we get here. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know the moment that we got to this point, but like, I don't know that I love her for that. I love her because I don't know how the fuck we get here.
We don't know. You know, like, it's so funny you said that, because I was gonna say the same thing. Like I have a handful of best friends, but Glenesse is my everything friend. Like Like I have like a best friend from college. I have a best friend that we became best friends because we bonded on motherhood. Another one. But with Glenesse, it's all encompassing. It's everything. It's motherhood. It's the ratchet shit we enjoy. It's the classy shit we enjoy. Because one thing about me and Glenesse, we classy as fuck.
We too classy for the ratchet and too ratchet
for the class. It's just we just you know she's my everything friend, and just even like in motherhood, and I think maybe of my other friends that are mothers, I think Glenesse might be the only other one who is a single mom. You know what I mean? And not to sound all trauma bondy or whatever, but Glenesse is just my everything friend. Like I know that Glenesse is never gonna lie to me either. One thing me and Glenesse gonna do is we're gonna hype each other up, but we also ain't gonna never like lie to each other. Like if I'm wrong about something, Glenesse gonna tell me I'm wrong. People know Glenesse as absolute doll, right? People know Glenesse as a content creator, stand up on your fuck, luxury Black girl. But people don't know the Glenesse that I get to know. People don't know the Glenesse who will do whatever it takes for her child to be okay. People don't know the Glenesse who love everybody. Like when Glenesse love you, she's not questioning nothing, she's just doing it. You know, and that's why I love Glenesse, is because she's just so giving. And I'm like, no, Glenesse deserves to receive the way Glenesse gives. Like Glennesse's loyalty is like unmatched. Glenesse, and she knows how to be objective, right? You know, we don't always have at least that one friend who's a little delulu with us and gonna hype us up and have us thinking we right even when we wrong. And even Glenesse is the friend who will, in front of everybody else, defend you to no end, and in private be like, bitch.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that shit later, but
Deidre, what the fuck was you doing
right now?
But Glenesse will pull that fucking gun. Okay?
I don't know how I gonna get to the end of that maze to make you be right, but in front of everybody,
you're right, and there's no question about it. And then in private, it's gonna be like, bitch, what the fuck did you do?
Like, what you doing? What you doing?
Like, not you had me on my head trying to make this shit shake. Like, what the fuck?
And because of that, it's so important to me to make sure to just always like defend and protect Glenesse, because I'm like, her willingness to beat up for everybody, it's like she deserves the world. That's my baby.
Can I just say how much like I love watching two Black women just talk about how much they love each other, and
it's my
favorite friendship y'all have, because if you leave
us.
it up to society will convince you that Black women have it out for each other and we're catty and we don't have good friendships. And like I love this podcast serving as living proof that like these types of female friendships do exist, and they're not rare. It's not rare at all, because if Black women don't have community with each other, who the fuck I think have community with
who
Black
we
women?
have it with?
Y'all. But I'm just saying I love to see it. Ludence, I'm gonna let you go first because I need to get my legs
Please
together.
do, because I don't need to be crying first and then I can't answer it because I sobbing, you know. Hey, I'm just saying, there's a high chance I could possibly cry depending on what you say, because I don't know what you gonna say.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We don't tell each other this shit all the time, but
so like I just think Jay is one of the most amazing people I got to know. Just hilarious, kind-hearted. As much as she'd go on with, she's a softie, but like don't ask her up though. But she is a softie, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that, because I needed that softness, and especially since it wasn't something that I was used to growing up. Like even like words of affirmation being like my top love language and stuff like that. Like it always felt pretty hard to get that as a man.
We love a man that know his love language, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm sitting here like, so carrot cake, no nuts.
what's the
raisins?
Keep your toes done. Carrot cake. No nuts.
Affirmation.
What's the affirmation?
No nuts. I don't put raisins in my carrot cake. You don't, because if you
That's great. No reasons. That's great.
It's giving that it's meant to be. I'll find out your I don't
how,
make
how
breakfast.
tall are you, Ludence?
5'10".
Interesting. But go ahead.
Hold on, he pouring his heart out to me. Relax.
I'm matching this for Deidre, but go ahead.
See, that's why that's my bitch right there. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry, we doing the most. Sorry.
But yeah, so like even like the words of affirmation, like Jay would just randomly like gas me up. I don't have to like ask for it. It's like she'll just randomly like compliment me out of nowhere. I don't
Oh.
and in a time where I needed that because I wasn't getting that anymore because I felt like a time that I didn't feel like I deserved it. And it's like being friends with Jay makes me feel like I deserve everything in the world. And in being friends with her, it's like I want to return that to her. Like, a lot of people, in general, just when they're in their low moments, they siphon off other people, and when they get better, they move on to other people. It's like I'm the exact opposite because like Jay were there, and I have another best friend who was there too. Like them two for sure. Like till the day I die, like I
you can't
go
get rid
hard
of
for
me.
them no matter what. Facts.
Yeah.
And you can't get rid of me either because
Yeah.
it ain't gonna happen. Whatever it is, we're gonna have to work it out because and we've never had a fight. I don't think we've ever had a falling out or anything like that. We may have had a disagreement, and maybe I had to take a break to be like, I ain't in the right space to respond to you right now to agree with what you're saying, but like
and and we have that level of communication to where like it don't turn into an argument. It'll be like mean I'll go up here right now and I'm gonna say some shit that's gonna piss you off, so I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow. Like we have those
and
boundaries.
then ain't no beef if she tell me that. Ain't like, oh, you just avoiding talking. It's like, what, you're right. I could wait until tomorrow. I understand. Take your break. You know what I mean? And I like that. Like I've never felt ego between us. I never felt like Jay would ever say anything to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like anything she says,
malicious,
I don't have to
malicious.
like, I never have to question it. Like, is she trying to be backhanded? Is she trying to be smart with me? You know what I mean? And I love that because I never have to doubt anything with her. I can come in as myself, whether it's I'm at my highest or I'm at my lowest, and I know she'll love me for it. You know what I mean? And that's very important to have in this world from anybody, like friendship, whatever. But like the fact that I lost a romantic relationship at the time that meant so much to me, and I gained like two very strong platonic relationships as a trade-off was like I could live with that. Like as much as it hurts, I can live with that because I can't imagine my life without them. You know what I mean? I can't imagine my life without Jay at all. Like
oh my god.
I do have a question. So when you said that your love language is words of affirmation, right? And you said I like randomly, like when she sends it, she'd kind of big you up, hype you up, right? Did y'all have that conversation like directly, or did y'all's friendship like kind of show you that was his love language? Because I feel like when I not found out about the love languages, but when I kind of rediscovered them, I asked all my friends, like, what is your love language? Because I want to love them in that way. Right? I
think we just happened to have a conversation about it.
I feel like we figured it out about each other before we even talked about it. Because I know we have talked about love language and we were like, oh yeah, yours for sure is whatever. But it was something that like we already knew. And I think it's because for most people, they tend to love you first in their love language before they figure out what yours is. And when me and Ludence met, Ludence been like, I gassing you up from day one. Listen, I don't drop a picture.
I like giving compliments, and not even like men trying to compliment women to get something. Like I like telling people they look good because a lot of people don't hear it. And a lot of people don't hear it in a way where it's like, I want something from you. Like I could just look at somebody and be like, wow, you that hairstyle and you look amazing. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, because like you don't hear that. You know what I mean? So like I'd be like, wow, you look amazing. That fit look great. I love what you do with your hair. That like that fits your face. Your face looks good. Like stuff like that. I like to compliment, and it's because it's something that I wish I got growing up. I wish I got more affirmations growing up. I wish I got like, hey, I'm proud of what you're doing. Like even though I was
especially
expected
in Caribbean
to be
culture.
smart.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was expected to be smart. So like, but it's like, I'd like to hear like, oh, I'm proud of you for what you're doing on your report card. I'm proud of you for how good you are at math, even though your father is a math whiz, right? Like I would like to hear those things. So it's like, because I didn't get it, it was like, well, I go give it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one or two things. It's like, because I ain't get nothing, nobody else could get it.
Nobody ain't
like,
gonna get
because I ain't get
you gonna give it to
everybody.
everybody.
Is one or two, you know what I mean? So that's how I was. So
and like, from day
it
one,
didn't
you were like
surprise me at all that words of affirmation, even when I took it like 2-3 times, I'm like, that's gonna always be number one, because I
Mm.
appreciate people being able to say stuff. Because to me, it's easier for people to do something for you, right? Like I grew up with my mother doing stuff for me. So like for me, it's like, well, if somebody love you, of course they could do stuff for you. But it's like,
Yeah.
do you know how hard it is for people to say, like,
Verbalize, yeah.
verbalize?
A lot
like,
of people can't
affection.
articulate their thoughts. Yeah.
Like it's hard for people to verbalize affection, because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, the action is there, but like maybe you don't look soft when you're doing it. Now I thinking, is this a burden for you? Like, you don't look happy doing this for me. But it's like, if it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's those little non-verbal communication is like, you don't get to hear. But it's like, if you saying it is like, if you saying it and you don't feel it, you could see it. But if you say it, they feel it, like you could see it and you could feel it. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about expressing yourself in words to anybody, because it's like, your face can't lie. Like, you can't lie through your teeth while you say it. It's easy to tell if it's a lie, you know what I mean? So I think it's a beautiful thing when somebody could genuinely express themselves in words, you know? So
I gotta answer this question, right? But I think anybody who has listened to Ludence talk throughout this episode already knows my answer to the question. Like, bitch, do I even have to answer the question? Like, you see what I do, you hear what I hear every day. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But I think for me, it's a lot of what Ludence said. Like, we were able to really support each other in a way very early on in our friendship that I don't think I was getting in a lot of my other friendships. And he's always been, he has never been somebody who would like hesitate to tell you like how much he love you, how much you mean to him. Like, those words of affirmation, like, is something easy for him to do, where a lot of the men in my life, though, they've made it seem like it was difficult to do. So Ludence kind of proves the opposite. But also, this is one of the few friendships in my life where I never have to question if I'm enough. There's never been a moment where I'm like, am I enough for you? Like, I know on my bad days when I while in, like, and I have my ways, everybody know I have my way. Like, he's never made me feel like, okay, you're either not enough or you too much. That's the other thing that I struggle with. And I've never felt that in this friendship, that I'm too much on any given day for Ludence. Even if some days he don't need a minute, he don't never make me feel like I is the problem, you know? So, I mean, I could sit here all day and talk about it. The other part of it, which I wasn't going to bring it up, right? Because I's a bad man, and bad man don't cry. But there was a friendship that I had, oh my God, junior high through high school. I've had other male best friends before, and Ludence, we've talked about this before. And I had a male best friend who actually, we grew apart when I went to college, and he ended up passing away. He passed away very suddenly. And I remember feeling that like void in my life of like the type of relationship that I had with that person, where it's like very similar to what we have now. We talking every day. We'd talk about everything. I'd tell he all about my life. And I remember one day, this was years into me and Ludence's friendship, I thought about my friend and I felt like grief, like, wow, he's missed all of these things, right? Like, I don't have this person to, he don't know that I'm married. He don't know that I grew up, like, he don't know all of these things that happen in my life. And I'm like, I felt lost. And then Ludence literally texted me at the moment that I was starting to feel that grief. And something in me, and I don't know what people believe, what your spiritual beliefs are, what, but I do not think it's a coincidence that I literally was looking at this friend who had passed away picture saying like, you missed out on so much of my life and I miss you and I'm so sad. And Ludence literally texted me right at that moment. And I was like, oh, like, it almost feels like this person, if that's possible, sent Ludence to me to make sure that like I wasn't missing a part of my life, right? Yeah. And I don't see Ludence as a replacement for this person by any means. Yeah. But like the void that he filled, that loss placed in my life, like the fact that I obviously grieve this person and I miss this person, but I don't feel like I'm missing out on that level of like love and support.
It's
and
like it's like a baton pass.
And I think that's what it is. I think that friend that you lost, and also Ludence, a big part of your relationship with them is them helping you realize that not all men are like the men who've disappointed you. Mm-hmm. You know, because I picked up on that. Like you brought up the fact that like Ludence is different than the men you're used to. Like a lot of the men in my life have either been romantic relationships or sexual relationships, or
family relationships where I have either been harmed or hurt emotionally by these men. And it's like to have this relationship where that has never, ever, ever been a question. Like Steven has never questioned, like I'll be on the phone with Ludence sometimes, or I'll be texting him and laughing and shit. And this man don't even blink. Why? Because I'll talk to he so much about our friendship that he know who Ludence is. Like he don't even don't trip,
that's
you know?
the next thing too, because it's like there's nothing to hide, right? Like because if you have to feel like you can't even tell your partner about your friend, then it's then it looks fishy.
If this man go through our conversation and he go see his fucking memes, book highlights, us dragging up us in front of
tweets,
like it's gonna be just like any other chat with our best friend. But this was such a good episode.
This was so good.
And I wanted to do this because we bring so many different people on here and we talk about so many different relationships. But like your best friend is the everyday defining relationship of your life. And for us to be able to do this,
that's really the anchor, because you know romantic relationships usually come and go. You know what I mean? But that best friend is like who always been there, usually seen everything that nobody else could get to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they ain't get to stick around long, you know. But like your best friend been there.
Your best friend been there the last 3 relationships, 4 relationships.
Yeah, they've been there for everything, and it's a beautiful thing. And let me just make this clear. We made it clear in the beginning. We're gonna make it clear now. Every single one of my best friends, I feel just as deeply for y'all. Okay, let me just make that clear. I don't love one best friend more than the other. The same love that I just gushed over Glenesse for is who I have that same amount of love for all my best friends. You guys are considered my best friend for a reason. Okay. Glenesse just made the most sense to have on a podcast.
I just wish more men felt comfortable having like a female best friend that they don't want anything to do with, like sexually. Like a lot of men don't really value female friendship or like liking women for just being a woman. They miss out on a lot of even just perspective, right? Because you could learn a lot about women just from being friends with a woman. So it's like, and not in the like stereotypical way, just like, because even some of the dudes I see that do have female friends is like, you know, the women be like, oh, I like my male friend because he'd talk hard to me. He'd tell me why I need to hard, and it's like, I mean, I guess the wall hard enough and other man hard enough. What the hell I doing?
Weird.
I feel like really if a friend have to talk to you hard to get a point across, I don't know if they really love you for real, because like for as much as I talk crazy, there's also a softness that I have with the people I care about and with my friends, because life is literally already beating your ass. So when you come to me, I really don't need to be beating your ass along with like you've already learned the lesson. Like, all right, let me Thank you.
This is too heavy for my heart.
Thank you, Glenesse, and thank you, Ludence, for coming to the episode and chatting shit with us. It's been long overdue. And yeah, I don't know if the audience knows, but today it's not our official last day of recording, but we almost done. Like, this is second to last episode of the season. The next episode
we got
that
one
you're
more
getting,
episode left.
Yeah, the next episode you're getting is our Renaissance World Tour recap. So if you ain't a Beyonce fan, this is your last episode of the season, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, because please don't come to the next episode expecting anything.
Yeah,
you're about to get another 3 stars.
Yep, I let you know now. The finale of this podcast this season is for the Hive. Okay,
it's for Hive.
For the Hive. So. Thank you all so much. If you ain't gonna be joining us next week,
we appreciate this
season. Yeah, it's been a great season. We're gonna talk more about it obviously next episode, but it's been amazing, and I can't thank Ayo enough. Yeah, all the good things.
This season, like, we've had such interesting, amazing guests. We've had such fucking challenging topics. That's really like, I just love how we're stretching ourselves more than we ever have. We're going to continue to do that.
All I have to say, thanks for listening.
Don't say nothing else.
No, we can't. We're done.
And Deidre, if we don't tell the people and bye, we never leave it. So tell the people and bye. Bye. This season of the Good Up Podcast is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services. The Good Up Podcast is Black woman hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Heaiza Quinones Ivory. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Tag us using the hashtag Good Up Tuesday and join the VIP section over on Patreon for exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/gooduppodcast.